Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Little Shop of Nerds. I'm Julia.
Mike, what's up?
And last week's hint was flags.
Yep.
Just really simple.
And today we are going to talk about a Studio Ghibli film called House on a Pop.
From Up on Poppy Hill. So we're talking about From Up on Poppy Hill. This is actually one of my favorites. And to be honest, there is a twist that I actually saw coming, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when we get there.
Yes. And it's another Studio Ghibli film, which is a really good film. You'll like it. It's kind of like a trying to find your own self story if you look at it.
A little bit, yeah. So, it starts off with, it takes place in 1963 Japan, because they are getting ready to host the 1964 Summer Olympics, in Japan.
Yes.
So we're at about, just a few, just a couple decades after, after the end of World War II. So it starts off with this girl. Her name is Yume.
And what she does, her grandmother and her siblings run kind of like a boarding house for people who, like, I think one is an artist, a couple were nurses.
No, one was an artist, one was a doctor, and I can't remember what the other one did. They were all women, too.
All women, pretty much. And pretty much Yumi is pretty much the house. She's pretty much like a caretaker.
Yeah, I think she's high school age.
She's high school age. She's like
She's a second year in high school, because I remember that.
But I know in Japan and.
Well, second year in high school kind of equates to, I think, a junior in high school.
Well, either.
And, in American.
I know it's different how they do in America and Japan. I know that.
Yeah.
But I do know, like I said, she's mostly like the caretaker, her grandmother. They do have like a maid, but she only comes here for a day.
It's only like a couple days a week, I think.
Yeah, and she pretty much does all the cooking, all the cleaning, and I think her grandmother helps too. But like I said, she likes doing it. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I know you're gonna wondering where's her mom. She's I think in America studying being a doctor.
Yeah, and her father had actually passed away, and he was in the Korean War, and I think they were coming. It was a supply ship, and they were coming back, and it was sunk. Yep. So her father had died during the Korean War. So every morning she goes out and she raises these flags, because she's been doing it, ever since she was little, before her father died. And then even after her father died, she continued to raise these flags, because I guess the flags that she was raising means please come home safely or something like that. And which is why the hint this week was flags.
Flags.
Had something to do with flags. And every morning, one of the tugboats actually answered her flags, but you can't see it from the garden.
Yeah.
The woman who's the artist, her name is Sachiko. I remember that. She could see them, but we'll get to that here in a little a little bit later. So she goes to school, and there's like a little poem in the school newspaper about her flags. So her and her sister, was it her and her sister, or her and her friends?
It was her and her friends who were reading it, and
yeah, that I know. And then I can't remember if she goes to the Latin Quarter with.
It was with her sister, but that's a little later on.
Okay.
What happened is they're sitting there eating some lunch, Then they have this little, the boys who have this clubhouse, and it looks like a big size house if you look at it. And pretty much in this, they call it their clubhouse. What it is, it's pretty much every club that that's in this house. They have a Latin club, a fucking astrology club,
astronomy. They had philosophy,
and
newspaper,
and
archaeology,
and like
chemistry.
everything rolled into one. They put like extra little rooms on the steps. So I'm like, wow, this is the hazard.
It is a mess. But anyways, before we get to that, while they're eating lunch, the boys want to save the Latin. It's called the Latin Quarter. The boys want to save it because it is actually supposed to be torn down because of the Olympics coming up. And I guess the chairman or something wanted to build another building where that clubhouse was. So Shun jumps from the top of the school building into this like little pool of water, and I guess I'm going to assume it's probably to get people's attention about what was happening with the Latin Quarter. So he jumps, Yume runs over, and she grabs his hand and to pull him out. And then people start thinking that they're like in a relationship or that they're in love with each other. So then she pushes him back into the water.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't get that. It's like, come on. Someone pulling something out of the water doesn't have a clue what a freak is.
Well, I mean, they were staring at each other for, quite a bit, before.
Yeah, but.
Because, I mean, if I saw somebody staring at each other like that for a while, I'd think the same thing. It was like love at first sight for them.
Yeah, it could be.
It definitely was love at first sight. Hell, that's a popular trope, love at first sight.
Yeah, it's so lame.
So, they end up going to Latin Quarter. I don't think it was that day. I think it was the next day.
It was the next day, but before that, when she got home, she went to her grandmother's, and her grandma's room or not her room, or a little part of a den or something.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was her grandmother's room.
And the grandmother seems like talking about what's going on, trying to keep up with the books and stuff. And she's saying, it's like, maybe you need to take less, towards what you do here and do something with yourself. And she's like, it's not interfering with my schoolwork, but she also knows about the flags, and I think she knows it's time to take them down.
Yeah. So, Yume just started taking care of the house, like, after her mother decided that she was going to go to America to study. We don't know how long I don't think it said how long her mom was gone.
Yeah, it didn't.
But she, she's taking care of her siblings, taking care of the household and all of that. And then, the next day after school, Sora, which is I do believe is her sister, her and Yume go to the Latin Quarter because Sora bought a picture of Shun jumping for 30 yen.
And she said that's a waste of money.
Yeah, and Yume said it was a waste of money.
Sorry.
And Sora wanted to get it signed. So,
yeah, I never understood.
So then that's when we see the Latin Quarter. It's really gross. It's dusty. There's a lot of trash everywhere. They
Boxes
have
paperwork.
They have to go all the way up to the 3rd floor, I think it was. And so they go in, and there's Shun. The archaeology club is in there as well, and the president. I don't even remember his name. But the president kind of almost seems like a ladies' man, almost.
Sort of, yeah, pretty much. He's like,
I mean, I'm in the guys with glasses, so I kind of thought he was kind of cute.
Yeah, I get it.
So, anyways, Shun signs the picture for, Sora, and then they ask Yume to help them do these stencils for this mock physics test that they were putting in their newspaper.
Yes.
And so she stays and helps, and then she realizes how late it was. So then she had to rush home and everything like that. Then she realized that they needed fish. So then she's leaving to go get fish. She runs into Shun. Shun drives her to the guy that owns the fish market or whatever. And that he bought some sort of like snack or whatever. He ate one and he gave the other to Yume. And then Yume walked home. So right there we have like something starting between them, and like some stuff, like a lot of stuff actually happens in this, because I mean they do go from kind of just being like don't know each other to they both have mutual feelings for each other.
Yeah,
like you can definitely tell.
Yeah, and they were starting to like each other, and some shit happens.
Yeah.
And
So, but before we get to that, the other shit that happens. So, one of the women in the, I can't remember if they had the debate before this or not.
I think it was.
Because they were having a going away party for one of the women in the boarding house, and I cannot remember if the debate was before or after that, because there was a debate at school about the Latin Quarter.
I think it was before the party. They have their debate, and everyone's arguing about it should be teared down because they want to bring the new to the future. But some like, now let's keep it because sometimes you don't want to lose something that's been part of history and stuff. And but I get it. It's like one of those things we need to strive towards the future, but some that you want to remember the past though too. So it's just one of those things that gets to it. Then they start singing the school anthem.
Yeah, because when the teachers start showing up, and then when the teachers were satisfied that they weren't fighting or whatever, then they left. But Yume ends up bringing her and a lot of the girls. I think it was all of the girls. Will go to the Latin Quarter, and they start helping to clean it up.
Make it look nice.
Make it look really nice, and then there's a going away party. Because the woman that's the doctor, she is actually leaving the boarding house, and Shun and the president dude come to the going away party, and Yume and him are talking, and she's telling them about her house, and she's like, yeah, this house is, been here for, it built, I think, at the turn of the century, I think is what she said.
Yes.
And it used to be a hospital.
Yeah, and she's talking about how her mom, they just eloped because the family didn't.
Yeah, her mother and her father. You said her mother and her. She was talking about how her mother and her father eloped.
Yes. Either way, right?
Because her mom didn't. Her mom's mom, so her grandmother didn't approve of their relationship.
Yeah, so they eloped, and Shun has seen the picture of her father. Then then he sees him as kids and not as his age, as Shun's age.
No, it was more of like they were really young adults.
Yeah, well, either way, looking at the picture plus realizing how Shun looks like Yumi's dad almost. But here's the thing, we'll get to that later, and like I said, the doctor who brought these two guys over, who were I think one's a construction worker and the other one, are also trying to save the Latin Quarter too.
Yeah, because they also went to that school.
And after that, they still work on the clubhouse, and Shun is still he's confused.
Yeah, because Shun, after the party, Shun went home, and he pulled out a photo album, and he had the exact same picture that he saw at Yume's house. So, he does ask his dad about it, and his dad tells him the story about how him and his wife had actually just lost a child, and they were both kind of grieving in their own way. Yume's father shows up at their doorstep holding Shun as a child, as a little baby, like newborn infant, basically. And he was like, "Hey, this child needs a home. He's on my family registry and everything. Can you guys take him?" And Shun's adoptive mother literally, like, immediately rushes out, grabs Shun when Shun starts crying, and takes him in and starts breastfeeding him. And because I mean, she was probably
Relieved.
not relieved, because I mean, from what I understand, because I mean, I don't have children. I probably never will have children. It's just not for me.
Same.
But from what I'm understanding is that when a woman, because I mean, it seems like that it wasn't too long after the death of their child that they had ended up with Shun. And I heard that when a woman's breasts are filled with milk, it's extremely painful.
I read about that too.
So, it was probably a relief for her because now her breasts won't be so, painful, but, you know,
Yeah.
but then she's also got something to take care of because that's what
Yes.
she wanted.
And all this information, and you're going to think, oh shit, we got some Sweet Home Alabama on this one. Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, so then Shun starts distancing himself from Yume. Doesn't talk to her about this.
No,
okay?
he doesn't.
He just starts ignoring her, being cold towards her, and she has no idea what the fuck is going on, and she's so confused. So then finally, one day when it's raining, you see her walking to school, and you see her with this determined look on her face, and she waits for him to get get out of school, and then she's like, he knew that they needed to talk. So they're walking home together. She's holding the umbrella over both of them. He's pushing his bike, and he basically tells her the story like, I think we're related. Your father is my father. I already went to City Hall and checked it out. It all checks out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shit, because
Yep.
I was rooting for them. I was shipping them so fucking hard.
This is where we... Sweet Home
So,
Alabama.
yeah, so basically, I don't think Yume really confessed her feelings, but Shun definitely did. And she goes, okay, well, where do we go from here? And he's like, well, we'll just have to go back to being friends.
Yep.
So then you see them trying to interact as friends, and you can definitely tell, like, there's some sort of, like, tension there, but they're trying their hardest to just be friends. So then they found out that even though they redid the Latin Quarter, they're still going to tear it down.
Yep.
So the president dude with the glasses, Shun, and Yume all go to Tokyo to talk to the chairman.
The head of the school board, yep.
Yeah, so they all just, like, skipped school and went to this building, and they just sat there. And because they didn't have an appointment, and when they asked why they didn't set an appointment, he said that he didn't think that the chairman would even give them an appointment because they're just students.
Yeah, and I have to say that takes a lot of things to do, and I agree, since we both work in the grown-up world, it is true.
Yeah. So they sat there and they waited. I don't know how long they waited, but it had to have been quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Like a long time.
And he comes out, he says, okay.
Which he's voiced by Beau Bridges, by the way.
Yeah. I was wondering if he was related to Jeff Bridges.
I don't know, but then somebody else named with the last name Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
No. There was a female with the last name Bridges, who played the secretary. I'm going to assume it might have been his wife.
Either way.
Anyways, back
he
to the story.
He says, "All right, I'll give you a chance. I'll come and look at it."
Yeah.
And after they're done, I know Shu and Yumi had their little thing about it.
So, the president dude, he leaves them, says, I told my mom that I'd go visit my uncle, so I'll see you guys later. And he just leaves them alone.
Yeah, and they just, all the things that's been happening with them, they had a little discussion about it.
Yeah, because at this point, Yume confessed her love and said that she didn't care if they were related, that she still loved him.
Yes, and after that, I think later on, Yume's mom comes home from America, brings her little brother back jerky.
Beef jerky, yeah.
I'm wondering if it's true or not if Japan has beef jerky. If they do, I want to try it.
They probably do.
I want to try it.
I mean, now they probably do, considering that, we trade with Japan and stuff like that. So
I would like to try it.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like American beef jerky, to be honest.
Well,
so.
It is American beef jerky.
Well, yeah.
You can tell because it looked like, was it Jacksonville or whatever it's called?
Yeah, but just said beef jerky in English.
Yeah, but either way, and Yumi is talking to her mom about Shun and stuff, and, well, turns out, here's the twist. What a twist!
And this is where I got it right.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to do it, or do you want to talk about it?
Just do it.
Okay, so it turns out that one of the three guys because in this photograph that both Yume and Shun have, there's three men. And so it's Yume's father, and then there's this other man named Tachibana. Tachibana ended up dying, and his wife was pregnant. She died from complications of childbirth. So Yume's father adopted this baby, this newborn baby boy, brought him home, hoping that him and his wife would be able to raise this child. But his wife was also pregnant. Yume's mother was pregnant with Yume at the time, and she knew that they would not be able to take care of this child. So then that's when they took Shun to the people that have raised him all these years. So they're not legally related.
What's the twist?
But, not blood related, but they are legally related because he is on her father's registry. But they weren't raised as like brother and sister or anything like that.
So everything is, like I said,
so they could get together if they really wanted. Now,
what's the twist?
This is so about the time the first time I watched this with my boyfriend. It was at the part where it was when she was confessing her love to him while they were waiting for the streetcar to show up.
Yes.
And I was like, I wonder if maybe it was like her father adopted Shun, but then the people that took him in did not adopt him.
Yeah. And
so they're not blood related, they're just related on paper. And I was completely right about it. And so when it came to light, I literally shouted, I knew it! I fucking knew it! And I made my dog bark. Because I was right, and I was happy that I was actually right for a change.
Yes, we're all glad.
So, Yume doesn't say anything to Shun because I think the next day was when when the chairman was coming out, so he hadn't really had a chance to talk to him yet. But he gets a call from his father, saying that the third guy in that photo was there, and he was getting ready to leave, and he was leaving at 4, and they needed to be there. He needed to come talk to him to learn about his real father. So he grabs Yume, and they run out because the chairman actually had decided not to tear down the Latin Quarter. He's like, we still need to build this new building, but we're gonna find somewhere else to do it so you guys can keep your Latin Quarter. Everybody's happy, and that's about the time that Shun rushes in, grabs Yume by the hand, and just pulls her out. Everybody's cheering because they're like, oh, young love and stuff like that. So they start heading to the harbor.
Yes.
She gets a ride from the housekeeper's husband, but he can't. They get stuck in traffic, so they get out and they run the rest of the way. They make it there in time to talk to him. And then that's when Shun learns about Tachibana. And that that was his real father, so that they actually, Yume and him actually weren't related. And then you see them going back to the mainland or dry land on a boat together. And then it cuts to Yume raising the flags.
Yep.
And they hear a horn blast. Mm-hmm. So then she knew that, Shun had seen the flags, and that was basically where it ended. Now, the thing with the flags is, I had said that Sachiko had been able to see the flags from her room. So the day that Yume had put up the flags, this was, I think, before she had talked to Shun. So this is when after Shun had found out. And because she had told Shun that her grandfather had put up the flagpole for her after they had moved in with him after her father died, because she was so, she was like inconsolable after the death of her father. And she had no place to put up the flags, and so they put up the flagpole for her. And so she told Shun that she did that every morning. And Shun was like, yeah, he did admit to her at one point, I can't remember when, but he did write the poem for her.
Yep.
She, the day that she put up the flags and she went up to Sachiko's room to check it, to see if he answered her flags, he didn't do it that day.
Nope.
And that was about the time that he started being really cold and stuff towards her. So this movie is on Max. Just like all the other Studio Ghibli movies.
On Max. Watch it there.
And I could probably give this movie like a 9 out of 10.
Same.
Because, there were a few parts that were a little confusing. I might actually watch in the Japanese version and see how it differs.
Yeah.
But this, I think, is actually going to be our last romance video
for
the month. Since, February does end here in a few days.
Yep.
So we'll go back to, like, our regular, we won't be talking so much about love stories for...
We go back to our regular scheduling program.
Yeah, back to games and other anime and stuff like that. So, you ready to give out next week's hint?
Yep.
Okay, so
the hills are alive for the sound
with the sound of music.
And I want some beer.
Apparently, Mike wants some beer
or whiskey, whatever works.
Okay, but yeah, so that's next week's hint. Now, it isn't what you think it is. I'm just gonna say that right now. Whatever you think it might be, throw that out the window, because it's probably not what you think it is.
No, yep, it's true. All right, we are at 20 subscribers right now, meaning we need 80 more to go till we get up to our 100. Just like, subscribe to us, and once we get up to 100, we'll show our faces.
And we'll cosplay.
And leave a like and a comment in the thing, and we're good.
Yeah. So we will talk to you guys later. Bye.